Why do we overthink? Why does our mind spin endlessly, trapping us in its whirlpool? Do you ever find yourself caught in an exhausting cycle of thoughts, unsure how to escape? What if there was a simple truth that could break that chain? In a tranquil valley nestled among rolling hills, there stood an ancient Zen monastery. It was a place of deep peace, where monks spent their days in meditation, practicing mindfulness and embracing the quietness of life. Yet among them, there was one monk who could never find peace within his own mind. His name was Jiro, and though his surroundings were serene, his thoughts were anything but. Jiro was an overthinker. Day and night his mind would churn with worries, questions and doubts. What if I never reach enlightenment? Am I meditating correctly? Why do I always feel anxious? His thoughts would swirl, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop the endless flow of overanalysis. It was as if his own mind had imprisoned him in a cage of his own making. Jiro had been at the monastery for years, but still felt a sense of unrest, of being incomplete. His fellow monks seemed so peaceful, so present in the moment, while he was constantly trapped in his mind's labyrinth. He would watch them meditate, their faces serene, while he sat there fighting an endless battle with his thoughts. One evening, in sheer frustration, Jiro approached Master Ryokan, the head of the monastery. Master Ryokan was known for his wisdom and quiet demeanor, always offering simple yet profound guidance. As the sun set over the valley, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jiro bowed respectfully before the master. "Master," Jiro began hesitantly, "I have been here for many years, practicing meditation, following the teachings, but I cannot find peace. My mind never stops racing. I overthink everything. Even when I sit in silence, my thoughts scream at me. I don't know how to escape this." The old master smiled gently, his eyes twinkling as if he had already anticipated the question. "Jiro," Master Ryokan said softly, "you remind me of a story. Come, sit with me, and I will share it with you." Curious but still restless, Jiro sat down beside the master, eager to hear what he had to say. "Once," Master Ryokan began, "there was a young traveler much like yourself who was on a quest for wisdom. This traveler had heard of a legendary spring that could quench not just physical thirst, but the thirst of the soul. It was said that anyone who drank from this spring would find clarity, peace, and freedom from suffering. The traveler set out with determination, crossing mountains and valleys, forests and rivers, always thinking, always planning. His mind was constantly filled with worries about the journey. What if I get lost? What if I never find the spring? What if it's all just a myth?" These thoughts plagued him, yet he pressed on. After many weeks, the traveler reached the foot of a tall mountain where the spring was said to be hidden at its peak. Exhausted and anxious, he began the ascent. As he climbed, his thoughts became louder. "What if I'm too late? What if others have already drunk all the water? What if I'm not worthy?" His mind spun with doubt and fear, making every step feel heavier than the last. Halfway up the mountain, the traveler saw a figure sitting by the path. It was an old man dressed in simple robes, his face peaceful and calm. The traveler, eager for answers, rushed to him. "Old man," he said breathlessly, "I am on a quest to find the legendary spring that can quench the thirst of my soul. Can you tell me if I'm on the right path? What must I do to find it?" The old man smiled and motioned for the traveler to sit. "You are indeed on the right path," the old man said, "but your mind is too clouded to see clearly. The spring you seek is not just on the mountain, it is within you. The more you think, the more you distance yourself from it." The traveler, confused and frustrated, replied, "But how can I stop thinking? My mind won't rest. I need to know the way." The old man looked at the traveler with compassion and said, "Imagine you are holding a cup of water in your hand. The more you move, the more the water inside the cup ripples and spills. But if you stop moving, if you allow the cup to be still, the water settles on its own. Your mind is like that cup. The more you try to control it, the more it churns. But if you allow it to be, it will settle, and clarity will come." The traveler sat in silence, contemplating the old man's words. He realized that his overthinking, his constant need for answers, was the very thing keeping him from the peace he sought. For the first time, he stopped trying to force his thoughts away. He simply let them be, and in that stillness, the path ahead became clear. When he resumed his journey up the mountain, his mind was quiet, his steps light, and when he finally reached the spring, He found that the water was as clear and still as his mind had become. Jiro sat in silence for a long time after hearing Master Ryokan's story. His heart felt heavy with recognition. He was just like the traveler. All these years he had been searching for peace, trying to control his thoughts, but in doing so, he had only stirred them up more. Master Ryokan looked at Jiro and said, "Overthinking is like a storm in the mind. The more you try to stop it, the stronger it becomes. But if you simply observe the storm, without getting caught in it, it will eventually pass. The clouds of thought will clear, and beneath them, you will find the stillness you seek." "But Master," Jiro asked, his voice filled with emotion, "how do I do this? How do I just let go of my thoughts?" Master Ryokan smiled. "Start by noticing when you are caught in the storm. Don't fight the thoughts, but don't engage with them either. Allow them to pass, like clouds drifting through the sky. And remember, the sky is always there, even when it is obscured by clouds. Your mind's true nature is like the sky, vast, open, and clear. The thoughts are just passing clouds." Jiro felt tears well up in his eyes. For so long he had been fighting against his own mind, trying to force it into silence, when all he needed to do was let it be. He bowed deeply to the master, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. From that day on, Jiro approached his meditation differently. Whenever his mind began to race with thoughts, instead of getting frustrated or trying to push them away, he simply observed them. He watched as they came and went, like waves crashing on the shore. Some days his mind was still turbulent, but he no longer fought the waves. He trusted that, like the traveler, if he allowed his mind to settle, clarity would come. As the weeks turned into months, Jiro found that the more he practiced this simple act of awareness, the less he was trapped in the cycle of overthinking. He realized that peace was not something he had to achieve or grasp. It was something that emerged naturally when he stopped struggling against his own mind. If you too find yourself caught in the relentless cycle of overthinking, remember this story. You don't have to fight your thoughts or push them away. Instead, be like the traveler. Sit by the side of your own mountain and let your mind settle on its own. Observe your thoughts as they come and go, without judgment, without attachment. The next time you find yourself spiraling into worry or doubt, pause. Take a deep breath and imagine your mind as a calm, clear sky. The thoughts are just passing clouds. They will come and they will go. You don't have to chase them, nor do you have to fear them. Allow the stillness within you to emerge, and in that stillness you will find the peace you seek. You don't need to climb the mountain to find the spring. The clarity, the peace you seek, is already within you. Let go and it will reveal itself. If this story resonated with you, take a moment today to practice stillness. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, pause, breathe, and let your thoughts be. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and together, let's break the cycle of overthinking.